Welcome back everybody to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. Another video today. I'm hoping to get back into things that most of my projects, other projects other than YouTube has actually, or my workshop, has actually come to a conclusion. So I'm really pleased about that. So it gives me more time now to get on with some more videos. Now what this is about is I've had been contacted by a couple of, well, I've had a couple of emails really from my viewers or subscribers, and mentioned on social media, and they've asked me about the vac pods that I use, and that's predominantly what you've seen in a previous video, those. Now I have about 5 of these, 3D print them, rubber seal, and your fittings that go in either end. Now they've been asking whether I could design one that's round. So what I've decided on doing is actually designing one. You can probably see it on the screen at the back. I'm using Fusion 360. I'll show you a little bit on the computer in a moment. I'll just explain the reason why, just to reiterate from the other videos that I show with these. I have a slimmer one. That is an open, what I call an open source, open vacuum vac pod. And what that one is in the centre there, as you can see, that has a button actuated vacuum. But on the other ones, the slimmer ones, you can make them slimmer, and it's open, because obviously the depth of that is about 17 mil, so you'd be restricted to what you can actually put in if you're going to use these. So the body of them's got to be deeper. So that actuates the vacuum, and it works by, if you look at that, it's slightly prouder than the rubber seal. So when I press down, I press the rubber seal down, but opens the vacuum port, which enables you to make a vacuum, and that seals it against the seal and the support of the actual vac pad or vac pod, and the centre part that is support solely. Those are supporting the item that you've got on, because you've got to remember is if they wasn't there, it would bend more than likely the surface of what you're doing to the centre of that, which is slightly lower. You don't want that. It all has to be supported. So anyway, and of course you can make these in just one entry point for the vacuum, and then you'd run them, if you wanted more to hold a bigger panel down, you would use it from a manifold, a pipe to each. I don't prefer to do that. What I prefer to do is I put a pass through, so that, I'll just show you, that is the blank plug. 3D print them, and that goes in one end. It doesn't matter which end that goes in, it's just the way I've done it. And the fittings are those, use them on compressed air and what have you. That's simple 16 mil they are, well 16 mil I think they are. I got them off Amazon, and when I print them, I print a thread inside, and then when I put them in, I just put a bit of sealing adhesive on, and that's it. Now the beauty about those are I can have one entry and link them to many, and then just have a blank in the last one. As I say, I've got 5 of these, so on the big machine I can hold a panel down quite easily. I have a vacuum table on that, a complete vacuum table, but sometimes, because it has a false table that goes on top as well, so that you're not, because last thing you want to do is cut through into your vacuum table. So I put a false table on top when I'm doing other things that I want to screw down or double-sided tape down or glue them down. So that is one of 5 that I've 3D printed, and I do use them, I must admit. And the clamp down, and on my 4040 Pro, my CNC Mark 4040 Pro, it's actually, the spacing enables me to get on the T-slot table that I've put on, okay, which is they work out the centre of the groove is about 90 mil centres, so wherever you put them, it will always fall in a 90 mil slot like that, or they just clamp down. Okay, so I'm in the process now of designing one for doing round discs. Now, as I say, I don't know what they're doing, whether they're coins or medals, or I presume they're using them, maybe just doing the surface. I don't know, because the one thing you've got to remember when you're using a vac pod is, if I put that on the table and clamp a panel down and then I want to cut through, immediately the problem that you'll all realise is somewhere along the lines you might catch one of these, and once you catch that you lose the vacuum and they'll all go. So, you know, be aware when you fasten them on no matter the manifold or whether you loop them, you cut through one of them and you lose the vacuum to all of them, because it finds an easier path, which is obviously where the hole is. So that's what you really don't want. So hence what you would do if you were going to cut through is you put a false board on. So whatever you're doing must have a false board either screwed, you can screw from underneath if it's not going to be seen, or screw from the surface to another board, and then you sit that on top of your vacuum pods. So if you were running a disc, metal disc or what have you, then the good thing to do with the metal one is to actually use some hot glue. That's what I've done when I did a bit of some wheels out of it was carbon fibre the other week. There was just some discs for a friend of mine, whatever we're using them for. I think it's something in his kit car. So, and I did the discs, but he wanted them like cut, not star shape, but he wanted them a funny shape. So what I did was I used the vac pod, and then I actually hot glued the carbon fibre to a piece of plywood, and then I pressed that on the vac and it held it firmly, absolutely spot on. Soon as I wanted, and it was only 3mm plywood, soon as I'd finished the job, released it, took it off, hot heat gun, and straight away it came away and glue peeled off. So it worked out really well. Now you've got the other things that you've got to watch for as well is you know, some people use a vacuum cleaner or something to create the vacuum. I'm not a great believer in I use a vacuum pump, a proper 2-stage vacuum pump. It's quiet, you don't hear. I don't want a vacuum cleaner running in the background. They're not that expensive, and once you connect it up, well, I've shown you on the one of the videos, when you connect it up you can virtually hang off it, providing that's supported. It's really strong. So I'll take you over to computer, and then I'll show you roughly what I've designed I'm using. Now it's printing at the moment. It's printing on the X-Max downstairs, X-Max Pro, and I'm printing it in PLA. I mean, normally things like this would be either in ABS or HIPS, something like that. I don't have a machine that really I would run carbon fibre on, but if I had some I'd probably try it. But these have worked absolutely fine. There's been no separation of the layers or anything, no warping. But I'm using PLA on this, so we'll see and see how it goes on. So I'll take you over to PC now. Right, here we are at PC. As you can see, this is the new design of the round vac pod that I'm doing. It's pretty simple really. As I said, my T-slot table that I have, whichever permutations you go in, it's 90mm centres, so for the T-bolts. So from the centre of that to the centre of that is 90mm, and same from there to the other one at the other side. Okay, that from the base, that's about 7mm thick is the base. That is 28mm to the top to there. That's solely to allow the adapters that I use. You can get smaller ones, but I like to use these. And obviously the neoprene seal they use, I think, is 7mm, thereabouts, the neoprene seal. Now I'll just go back to that one. As you can see, I'll zoom in and show you. It's a bevel on either side, it's a pass-through hole, and then the ball valve which I showed you, that's obviously into there, so it's all open. And I prefer to put a bevel on the outer edge because that enables the thread to start a little bit. They are tapered and they come with a sealing compound already on the threads. As you can see, that one, it has like a grey sealing compound and it's slightly tapered. So but what you don't do is, because it's plastic, remember the layer lines, it's printed like this on the bed. This is the strongest way to do it, or I find anyway, is you wouldn't tighten that in too much, because there's a good chance with it being metal you'd actually split these layer lines. So you just nip them in, that's all it needs, it seals itself. And obviously when I first put them in, I always put a little bit of not sealing compound, it's adhesive that I use, because once they're in you don't take them out. Now as you can see, I'll do it from the top. Right, the blue shows where the actual neoprene seal goes. Okay, that's a support, that's a support, and that's a support, and so is that. Okay, that is what your material will vacuum down onto. The seal is slightly proud, about 1.5 millimeters above that, probably a little bit more, and because that will compress. The ball valve is level with the top of the seal. Okay, but that part, what I'm highlighting there, is well below the support, so that is not a support, that is just solely the rim of the ball valve. Okay, you don't want anything touching that. So when you press your material down, you'll actuate the ball valve, which lets the vacuum through, and your material is pulled down like that and those surfaces. Okay, and they're in there, mostly you want them in vac pods as support, because vacuum's that strong that if it's only a thin item, thin plywood or something like that, you would end up making it bowed in the centre, convex. So we don't want that, otherwise you'll get a bad engraving or whatever you're doing. Now the beauty about how I've done this one is, I'm using that seal, it's about 72mm from there to there outer diameter. Okay, so over 72mm, I would say safely to about 90, maybe 100 disc if it's thick enough to support it. You could do on the outer one, and that support there is broken. They're broken to allow the vacuum through into here. Okay, which is working obviously this. So then obviously, if I want to use something that's smaller, like say a 55mm disc, the centre of that there, from there to there, is about 51mm. So to move down, you wouldn't take that seal out. I've designed it so I can put a seal in here if I want to. It doesn't take too rather quick to put another seal in. Put a seal in there, which then it would vacuum down a smaller disc. So you can use different sizes, and basically that's it. It's not a, it's wasn't a particularly hard design to do. It took me about 20 minutes. That's it. It's been printed in PLA, blue PLA, and I'm printing it on the X-Max. I normally do prototypes on the Zortrax to see what it's like, alter it, because very rarely you get them first time. You know, the actual unit probably will be okay, but the thread diameters, or you might have got something out, oh god, so you just alter it and then do it again. But it's a 4 and a bit hour print is this, so I'm just leaving it running, and as I say, it's in PLA. I like IPS and ABS me because it's the bonding agent you use. You can put multiple parts together, and once the welded together, you don't separate them. You break the plastic. So, as I say, that's the design at the moment, and we'll see what comes off. And I'll take you down and show you a bit as it's printing. Right, there we go. First back pad that's come off the printer. The other one should have finished as well. This is on Zortrax M200. This is done in hips, and the other one downstairs is done in PLA. And I'll take you down to that and show you how that's gone on. There we are, taking the supports out, taking it off the raft. A lovely clean raft. Look. And you can see just a little bit of, that's it, well done. There we go. This is the other one on PLA from the Studio X Max. As you can see, just open the door, there's a little bit of layer line shift in there. Never had that before, and we'll have to see how it goes on. There's a little bit of under extrusion as well. I'll take it out. There we go. Comes off. You can see the layer lines there. It's not right. You can see the supports are still in. There's more supports than this in the Zortrax. It's not a very good print. It's well constructed, but it's not a very good print. Not when you consider what the Zortrax is like. Right, here we are at in the shop. Right, I've had the vac pods, the circular ones, printed. I put the fittings in. I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to take you over. And what actually happened when I was printing on the X Max and my Zortrax. The Zortrax I don't have to worry about. I'm printed in hips. Very good printer. It don't fail. It does what it says on the tin. But the X Max have a lot of layer line shifting and separation, and that's with PLA. On the Zortrax, as I say, that were hips, a different filament. I was using PLA on here, and I've spotted probably the reason why, and I'm going to do a video on that, where I got the line shifting and that, layer lines. But anyway, I'll take you over to a bench and I'll show you the actual vac pods working. Hope you can all see that now. Right, here we are, the two. This one's PLA, this one's the hips. This was printed on the Zortrax. This one, of which I'm going to do a video on it, what I did was, I've always fancied one of the Bamboo Labs with the AMS, and I thought I'm going to treat myself to one. So it came yesterday, and I'm going to do a little bit of a video on it. It's not an unboxing as such, and just the sheer easiness of printing. That is done on my, I hope you can see that, the quality of that. That's on the, it's done with a raft on this. That's in hips, and it's done on the Zortrax M200. Fantastic printer. As I say, the amount of printing I've done on it, and I just do general maintenance, that's it. Okay, and then done the Bamboo Labs, that on hips, on the Zortrax, 8.5 hours printing time. Right, the same one in PLA on the Bamboo Labs, and if you look at the quality of that, it's absolutely amazing, and it was done in 1 hour 48 minutes. I could not believe it, and I was watching it. I was watching it from upstairs in the office. I was watching it from having my tea on my phone, and I've been down here with it. It's a great bit of kit. I didn't realise how good it was. I know there are a lot of people on the internet saying that, YouTube saying, you know, if you can afford one, get one. Well, I've done it. Right, I'm going to show you these working now. If you notice this one, it's designed with an inner there and an outer one, so you can get 2 different discs. Okay, it's got, this is the blank plugs I were on about. That's the blank plug printed, so I can do a pass through if I want. Okay, that's why I do that. I always do that, because it's, if you've blanked off there, you can only use them from a manifold if you want to use 2, whereas you can use this linking them. Okay, and that's just the same fitting. It's a 3/8 BSB pipe fitting, and when you put that into the when you do it in Fusion 360, it actually, when you're going to put in a thread on the inside, it actually prints the thread, and it just screws straight in. Because that's PLA, I can't use the bonding liquid that I use for hips or ABS. So what I've done with that is you run a bit of super glue around the joint to seal it, tighten it in, and then you don't tighten it in too far because these are tapered, and what will happen is it'll split these, because obviously it's not metal. So just put them in till you can just feel no more, and then I just run a little bit of super glue around there just to finally seal it. Okay, that's the ball valve in the centre, and that is, I just put a bit of super glue around it and just press it in. Okay, the finish on this is, I'm amazed at it in the time that it takes on this. But anyway, that's that one. This is the same one, but just in hips. This has got the outer sealing. Okay, this is bonded. These go in a little bit further, so the thread must be, the discrepancies between printers, there always are. That goes in a little bit further, so that tells me that outside diameter on the Zortrax is slightly larger than the one on the Bamboo Labs. Done it same, but I use a bonding liquid, which IPS or ABS, it just melts the plastic, so you run a bit round, tighten it in, and then just leave it, and it just seals itself. Okay, the rubber strip, that's the 8mm, and you just press that in. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll show you it working. That's plywood disc. So this is what we're on about. This is a round disc that if you wanted to super glue or hot glue a metal disc on that, if you're doing some engraving, you could do that. I'll show you it actually how I worked it for me for my bed. So I'll just take you over to the CNC and I'll just show you that. Yeah, excuse it because it's covered at the moment. Right, this is how I designed them. If you look, the centres there in the T slots, that's why it's 90mm centres. Okay, but if I want to fasten them four ways, I can do, because all you do is a bolt through there, bolt through there. You can get a bolt through there and a bolt through there. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you put them, it's just entirely up to yourself. But the height is about right, so you can take your bed up. This is the pipe that comes from my vacuum pump. I'll switch on, you can hear it. That's a two-stage vacuum pump. It's quiet and it'll run for quite a number of hours. You don't need to worry about it. And all you simply do is plug that in there. If it's fastened to there, if you've looped it, blank in here, so you can actually take that blank out, pipe in there, round there, bolt them on, and you've got two suction cups, two vacuum pods. And I'll show you these working. Right, I'll switch the vacuum pump on. Okay, first thing is on the big disc. Okay, So put that on there. You see that? That's all. That's exactly down level with that. I can't have a job on pulling that off. I'd have a job on prizing. I'd probably split the plywood. It's so good, and that's why even 3mm, 4mm plywood, if you don't have those supports in the centre, which are those there, what would happen? It would just pull it down and continue. Okay, but because there's multiple ones of those, it doesn't do that. Okay, so that does that one. So switch that off, and you'll obviously, it's off now. Right, so that's that one. So if I wanted to put some metal on here and stick something on the metal, I only laid that on. Yeah, that. I'll tell you, force on, and I'm really pulling at that. You see that? So you can imagine if that's bolted to your table, you've got your metal on, whatever it is that you're wanting to engrave, or you've got a wooden disc, you could glue that on and put that, and then if you had it set on a jig, bolted down, all you would do is just take this off then, and then put that back in the same position. Okay, switch that one off. Now just get this out of here. That's that one out. This is the little one now, so I'll put the little one in. You can put the rubber seal in that one, but you won't put two seals in because it'd interfere with the outer one or the inner one, so you just put one seal in, whichever you want to use, and it just picks out. You just cut it, and then it's sort of self-sealing once it's under vacuum. The two faces go together anyway. So I'll switch the vacuum on. Okay, just a little one. There you go. Can't get that one off neither. So I normally have a valve that I have locked in between, and so that when I'm creating the vacuum, if I want to release it, just turn the valve and it releases the vacuum, then shut it off. I'm only doing this for demonstration purposes. So use a smaller disc. There. And that is on. I couldn't pull that off, not my fingers. I'm trying now, can't do it. There you go. And it's the same, it'll take that on. So you can see the advantages of when you have a 3D printer and you can design something, and this is the outcome. I can print as many as these off in an hour, and well, under 2 hours in PLA. That's probably cost me, I think it said on there, that's cost me around about £1.70 for a vacuum pod that people are wanting considerable amount for. Print those off. I just have some of those because they do wear a little bit, but I have quite a few of those printed off. They're not expensive. As I say, if you don't want to pass through, I always think print it while you can and do a pass through, but you can see the advantages of, if you're doing brass coins, then you could have a piece of plywood like that, your brass coin super glued on, pop it on, press it down, engrave, you can actually pick the glue off, especially if it's marked. Keep your vacuum on, because you can get the hot glue off without breaking the vacuum. Turn it over, line it up exactly the same, and do the reverse of a coin. So it's open. This was really a project that somebody had asked me about. Do you know what my views on round ones, and this is the ones I designed. So I just hope everybody's found the video interesting. As I say, those are printed. I did have a failure on the first one, which I'll show you. These were done on the X-Max, the original X-Max. Scud printer, but I noticed it was doing some poor lane shifting and layer shifting and what have you. And that was the first one I did, which on the surface of it, it looks reasonable. Everything fit, except the software program had not put the threads inside the holes, so it was no good. It weren't too bad a print. I didn't realise that it wasn't giving a vacuum at the time, because I couldn't put the fittings in. That was the other one that I did. That put the thread inside. You can see the thread. Hope you can see that. Put the fittings in, and I noticed that it wasn't drawing a vacuum, which means this is leaking, because the pipework and the fittings don't leak. This is leaking. So then when I come to look, I'll just move you a bit closer. So when I come to look at it, you can see on the outer edges, and these are, I've done thick walls just there. Hope you can see that. You might not be able to see it, but they weren't sealing. The vacuum was getting through there on the wall, so I designed it with thicker walls and everything, but with the layer lines shifting, as you can see it on there. You can see it, it's shifting. It's up and down, so if you want in layer lines to, especially with the infill, to actually line up to give you a vacuum, they've got to be spot on. If they're not, you'll get leakage, it'll draw it through, and that's what happened. So came off the printers, but they're no good whatsoever. But I've got it printing again because I've done an upgrade on the X-Max, which I'm going to do a video about, and then I'll show you if I'm hoping it's improved it. So that's conclusion to this video, and as I say, but please like and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and I've been dealing with everybody's feedback and questions as best I can. I can't answer everything because I don't know everything. But I try and point them in the right direction, and we can get through it. And these were brought up by a couple of people, more or less mentioning the same, so I've done a video on it. So that's the conclusion of my video, and I'm going to get on with now learning a bit more about the Bamboo Labs and see if my X-Max is working alright. And until next time, you be safe and be careful, and bye for now.